When I brought my first baby home, there were no smartphones. No one had a smartphone. But by the time I had my last baby, the algorithms were designed to keep us endlessly scrolling. And yet, to this very day, when my phone is out of reach, or I've loaned it to a child, or I've forgotten it somewhere, I am transported back to this wonderful time, those early days of motherhood and wifehood, when my smartphone and social media was not on my mind at all. When life felt slower and deeper and more tactile. It actually reminds me of the scene from Ratatouille when Anton takes a bite of the food and he's immediately transported back to his golden kitchen and his mom's there making him feel like everything in the world is going to be all right. Today, we're going to talk about that lost piece and how we can reclaim it, how we can slow down and connect and live motherhood and life in a way that fills us and fills those around us, not in a way that drains us and keeps us addicted and ignores the most important things and people that God has given us. Because motherhood, with and without the phone, has always been a mix of joy and work. But now, our attention is pulled in 100 digital directions. We forget the quiet satisfaction of a home well lived, a meal well made, or a note written by hand. But here's the good news, girls. We have agency. We can bring it back. We can bring back that old feeling. We can reclaim tactile, intentional, real life moments, even in a world that wants our attention on a screen. We are going to get into 5 specific ways, very practically, that we can bring back that feeling of the good old days into our present lives. And before we do that, I want to ask, because I think about this a lot. Do you ever wonder, what would I be like without the smartphone? What would I be like if I would have never gotten a smartphone? And even more so, if the smartphone had never entered the world? For those of you who don't remember a time starting your adulthood without it, my heart genuinely goes out to you because it was a wonderful, magical time. It was hard, of course, as every season of life can be. And I really believe we were created for such a time as this, the time that we're in right now. But it was a magical time. We had information, we had the internet if we needed it, but it wasn't in our back pocket. It didn't demand thought. It didn't addict us like we are addicted to our phones. It didn't steal away time from our families. It was just something on the periphery. And I really miss those days. And I really do ponder, who would I be today? Who would my family be today without a smartphone? I think that can be good for us to think about, because most generations have not had this level of information or connectivity. One last little reminder I have to be reminded of is from Ecclesiastes 7:10, and it says, "Don't ask, why were the former days better than these? It's not from wisdom that you ask this." We are living the good old days. I do think it's short-sighted and a little bit unwise to say that we haven't lost something in this modern, technical, digital age. I really believe we have. But let's keep it all in perspective and remember that we were made for this time in history, and we have agency given to us by God, and we can write a different story than society is trying to write for us in our motherhood, in our wifehood, and in our lives as Christian women. So let's get into it. What are some practical ways that we can replace our use of the smartphone with something real? Number 1, instead of scrolling, dig into some sensory work. Begin your day with tangible, life-giving tasks like make your bed, brew some coffee, light a candle, wash the dishes that you left in the sink, fold laundry, even slowly. Let your senses just guide you, like notice the warmth of sunlight on your face, or the smell of breakfast, or the textures around your home. The sensory anchors really root us into the present, into our family, into things that really matter, into things that are real. So before we pick up our phone and enter a fake world that is largely detached, let's tap into the things that we can see and hear and feel, touch, smell, real life things in our very real lives. Number 2, instead of texting, write a letter. Yes, some texts are super handy because we can communicate urgent information, but don't let that stop you from writing a letter to a friend or a note to a family member or just giving a birthday card to someone you love. Holding the paper, sealing the envelope, pressing that stamp, these small acts root us in reality in a way that scrolling or texting or emailing never will. And here on Mulberry Hill, I have been dreaming up a way to connect with you in this exact way. And that is where Letters from Mulberry Hill comes in. I have been writing letters of encouragement from my kitchen table, thinking about women just like you who are tending homes and children and husbands and faith and ordinary life with so much love. Letters from Mulberry Hill is a monthly pen-pal-style correspondence, a simple, heartfelt letter meant to offer companionship and gentle spiritual encouragement and beauty for the rhythms of home that we all love so, so much. It's an intentional $10 monthly subscription. I know, subscription, we're all tired of it. I just didn't know another way to make this happen. So it's an intentional $10 monthly subscription that brings the analog joy back into life. A handwritten letter, a seasonal recipe, a physical calendar, rotating inserts, as well as Bible memory verses and prayer prompts, and a playlist for the month. Each and every piece is designed to spark joy and to connect us to what's real and to help us slow down intentionally. You hold it, you touch it, you make it part of your home. I am so grateful for those of you who have already expressed interest in becoming part of these letters, this pen pal correspondence, because it is your interest that will make this dream become an actual reality. So if you do want more information on how you can express interest in becoming a member of the Founding Circle, I'll include more details in the description below. Number 3. Instead of background noise, create phone-free spaces. Now, this can be really hard for those of us who love our podcasts, right? But we can choose intentional blocks of time where our phone is literally in another room. Morning, lunch, or evening, whatever works for you. You could keep a basket or a drawer as a phone parking spot and a notebook for urgent notes instead of unlocking your phone. You can charge your phone elsewhere during family meals, homework, or quiet playtime. Just fully immerse yourself in the moment. If it's an option, we are so addicted to these things that it is hard to say no. I have even found myself walking to a room, opening my phone, not even knowing what I'm on there for, right? We are too addicted. I speak for myself. I am too addicted. So having intentional days or hours where we are not allowed, the option is just not there to pick up our phone can be really helpful. I have started doing screen-free Sundays and I love it. It's the perfect addition to that day of worship and rest. Number 4, instead of cheap convenience, use your imagination. This could look like, instead of shopping Amazon, I'm going to shop my house and see what I can move around to create a fresh space. We can say no to all the things that tell us we need one more item, one more supplement that's going to just totally rock our world, one more system that's going to change our life, right? Use our imaginations. We used to be so much more creative mamas before these phones were in our hands. So we don't need that cheap convenience. We don't have to shop Amazon. We could, believe it or not, go to the grocery store and not have it delivered to us. Though I will say I am a fan of having my Walmart order delivered right to my door. And can I put a little caveat here? Is it not sort of like the milkman of old? Just dropping the milk off right at the doorstep? That's how I like to think of it. But truly, it's sometimes good to check out of the phone and check in to the real life tactile experiences. And that can include going to the grocery store. So just get creative. If you have something at home that you could turn into a meal or a craft, we don't always need Pinterest to inspire us. Our brains were made in an amazing way. And believe it or not, they function better when they're exercising, right? When they're doing the job they are meant to do. I'll say again, there was this really brief time when the things I pinned on Pinterest were actually things I did. I can go back and see the things I actually did. And do you know when that stopped? That stopped circa 2017, I think. So that's a lot of years of pinning things on Pinterest and leaving them forgotten. It's just mindless. It's just filling the void instead of filling any void with what really matters. And that is people, that is connection, that is worship, that is our church and community. Let's get back to that. Those are the good things. Those are the sweet things in life. Number 5, instead of constant cortisol spikes, choose steady, sustaining serotonin. Our phones keep us in a near constant state of low-level stress. Notifications, scrolling, switching attention, that pattern triggers repeated cortisol spikes, which over time can leave us feeling irritable and restless and mentally fatigued. But the body was designed for something different. Serotonin is supported by slower, steadier inputs. Sunlight, especially in the morning, rhythmic movement like walking, hands-on repetitive work, protein-rich, nourishing food, meaningful, undistracted connection, and consistent daily rhythms. So in real life, that might look like taking a picnic outside instead of eating in a rush, laying in the grass and playing the cloud game with your children, reading a book under a shade tree, painting a bedroom or rearranging a space with your hands, going for a walk without anything in your ears, cooking a meal from scratch and sitting down to enjoy it. These things don't spike your system. They steady it. And over time, that steadiness, it doesn't just change how we feel, it reshapes our days and our homes and our hearts. In some ways, friend, we do not need to go with the flow. We need to swim against the current. So in a world that prizes novelty, prize fidelity. In a world that loves ready-made, knead the dough and bake the bread. In the world that pushes cheap efficiency, take time to build a sure foundation. In a world that magnifies self, be a servant. In a world that pulls you to the fringe and erases margin, make home. In a world that worships the daring changeling, dare to be constant. In a world that tempts us to fill our homes with more stuff, fill them instead with God's word, memories, traditions, and ways of life. In a world that seeks seclusion, sit on the front porch and open the front door. In a world that thrives on mobility, grow roots, know and love your place. In a world that calls mountaintop moments epic, remind yourself, the epic is lived out in the poetry of the everyday. So walk in the spirit, watch hard work pave the way for revelry, kiss the same man hello and goodbye for 60 years. Love your baby before you even hear her heartbeat. Make thousands of meals for the people you love. Gather 4 generations around the table. Make a house a home. Light the candle, work the land, pass down the age-old ways that were passed down to you. Worship the Lord. Obey his commandments. Pray without ceasing. Repent, rejoice, and repeat. And if you want to step into this kind of life in a simple, tangible way, you can learn more about joining the founding circle of Letters from Mulberry Hill in the description below. Let's reclaim a little of this life. One letter, one prayer, one hug, one intentional moment at a time. Blessings on your week, my friend. I'll see you next time here on Mulberry Hill.